Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to part 5 of getting into PC gaming. This part's going to be all about choosing the budget that works the best for you, so let's get straight into this. Now, when deciding on a budget, there's a couple of factors that you have to consider. The main factors that you have to consider are, what resolution do you want to play on? Do you want to play at the highest resolution possible, like 2560 by 1440? Or do you want to play at, you already have a TV that outputs at 720p, and that's all you want to play at? You want to play games at 720p, and, that's it. Because I see a lot of people that are spending like $700, $800, and they're only playing on a 720p TV. Well, 720p is something very, very easy to run. You can actually run 720p with like $80 graphics cards, and you can run games at ultra high settings, and it's really not that hard to run. And people want to spend, $150 on a graphics card when you really don't need to when playing at 720p. Now, what most people play at is 1920 by 1080, and that is the median, but depending on for you, think about what resolution you're going to play on. I know most people it's 1080p, but some people do want to play at 720p or 1680 by 1050, and at that case you can spend less money. Or some people want to get a really high-end monitor and play games at 2560 by 1600, and that's going to take a lot more horsepower. Okay, the next factor you have to take into consideration along the lines of the resolution is what settings do you want to play at? Are you okay with turning down the settings to medium or lower, turning some things down, turning anti-aliasing off, things like that? Are you okay with that to get acceptable performance, or are you the type of person that is very graphical wanting? You want the games to look as good as possible, and you want to still get very high frame rates. And, if you're that kind of person, obviously you're going to be spending more money, but if you're the kind of person that is okay with turning down the settings and turning down some of the anti-aliasing, you're going to be able to spend a lot less money, because a lot of people like to talk about how hard these games are to run. Well, if you really turn down these settings to medium or high even, they're really not that difficult to run. Like a game like Battlefield 3 at medium settings, Battlefield 3 is not hard to run at all. You can run Battlefield 3 at medium settings with a very budget end card. So if you're okay with turning down settings and whatnot, you can save a lot of money. But again, if you want to max out all these games, if you want to turn up anti-aliasing, turn up shadows, all this kind of stuff, you're going to be spending a lot more money, but that's dependent on who you are and what your expectations are. The next factor is also on the lines of settings and resolution. That's what kind of frame rate you want. A lot of people are moving to PC gaming to, decide for the extra frame rate, because a lot of console games run at, 25 frames, even 30 frames per second. Some dip below 20, which is completely unplayable. But a lot of people are expecting 60 frames per second locked at every game. Well, that's very hard to do, but a lot of people just want to play games playably, 30 to 35 frames per second, and they want to put the graphics at medium settings. Well, then you're going to save a lot of money. But if you want to lock a game to 60 FPS and still play at 1080p, that's a very hard thing to do. You need a really nice graphics card, especially if you're going to be playing games like Battlefield 3, Witcher 2, and it's really like, what factors from each three of these do you want? Do you want to turn up the resolution? Do you want to turn up the settings? Or do you want to have high frame rates? Usually it's only 2 out of 3 of those. People most of the times can compromise on one of those things, but there are people that want all 3, and in that case you're going to be spending a lot more money. But there's also people that only want one of the 3 or don't want any of them. I don't know why, but there are people like that. There's people that only want one of the 3. Like, I know a lot of people that only want high frame rate. They really care about performance. So if you just care about performance and you're willing to turn down the resolution and you're willing to turn down the settings a little bit, then you can be saving a lot of money and you can be spending less money on your overall machine. Now, the fourth factor you have to take into consideration is, do you want to do any multimedia kind of things? Like, do you want to record videos? Do you want to live stream? Do you want to edit videos? Because things like that is going to require a very powerful CPU, at least a quad core, preferably even higher, or a higher end quad core like an i5-3570K over an FX 4300. But again, that's up to you. Do you want to record videos? Do you want to edit videos and do them smoothly? Live streaming is something that's very hard to do on a lower end CPU. I actually used to try to live stream on an i3, and it was the hardest thing ever to do. You would get like 15 frames per second on a game. So if you are the kind of person that is trying to get a PC so you can also do YouTube, you can do Twitch, then you're going to want to get a decently powerful CPU. I recommend like an i5-3570K or an FX 8350 if you're more budget minded, and if you can go high end, just get an i7-3770K. But that's up to you if you do want to do those kinds of. The next thing you have to consider is, what kind of upgradability options do you want? Do you want to go high-end on the motherboard so you can add a second graphics card down the line? Well, if you don't want to add a second graphics card down the line, well, then you can get, a small form factor motherboard, and you can save some money on that. But yeah, if you're pretty much dead set on this is going to be the computer that you're going to use for the next couple of years, well, then you don't have to really go extremely high-end with like a 1000-watt power supply, because if you get a 700 watt power supply and it can run everything that's in your machine, well then what's the point of getting something higher end if you're never going to use that extra wattage? Same goes for the motherboard. If you're never going to add a second graphics card, why have a SLI capable motherboard? I know some people want that just in case, but you should be able to make that decision right now because, you know, you can see how your life is going and what you're going to need and what you're not going to need. Now, branching off from that, I want to talk about something that's basically to help you guys save a lot of money, because it's something that a lot of people just go on, you know, Newegg or Amazon and they just buy up all their parts. Well, what I recommend to do is actually shop around, look for deals, because you can find really good deals on parts. Like, if you go on Newegg right now, you can get really solid power supplies with good mail-in rebates and good promo codes, and you can get like a 500 watt power supply for only like $30, and it's 80 plus certified. It's a high quality power supply, and otherwise you would have been spending 60, 70 bucks for a 500 watt power supply. So shop around for deals. You guys can save a lot of money and put higher end parts that you normally couldn't. Check for rebates, check for promos with like additional games. I know Nvidia right now, at the time of this recording, is giving Splinter Cell Blacklist with their graphics card. So shop around for those kinds of things. You guys can find some really solid deals that help either make the PC cheaper or give you some extra incentives like Splinter Cell, like I said a little while ago. So shop around for that. You guys can use PC Part Picker. Although PC Part Picker is sometimes late on some things, I have noticed that, but PC Part Picker is a good site to use if you guys want the cheapest deals possible. PC Part Picker also takes into considerations of rebates. They do not take into consideration of free games, so make sure you shop around for that. And finally, I want to talk about value, because value is something that a lot of gamers and PC gamers in general are looking for. It's, you know, what's the right amount to spend on a PC, and that's really, again, up to you and what you want. But what I recommend to spend on, if you can afford it, I usually recommend about $700 to $900, because if you go over that, the value starts deteriorating, and if you go under that, your gaming PC is going to be pretty slow. But again, that's based on what your expectations are and what you're looking to do with it. But $700 to $900 is going to give you the best value possible. You know, you're going to get the most dollar for dollar performance, and that's going to be a really kick-ass machine that's also going to have some future-proofness. It's not even a word, future-proofness. I just made it up, but future-proofness, and it's going to perform some kick-ass performance right now. So that's usually how much I recommend, but that's, again, based on what your expectations are as well. So thanks for watching this video, guys. The next part's gonna cover actually picking your parts, since this one was basically deciding on the budget. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Remember to subscribe, like this video, check out all the other videos in this series, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.